I'm Mollie and the Knits. I'm a brand new knitwear designer, fresh off the press from Melbourne, Australia. And yeah, I just finished recording last week's video, but in real time it's still today. And I was getting really into my books. So I'm gonna share with you, because I was thinking so many thoughts. I was like, you know what would be fun if I told you about all of the random knitting books. So let's show you like a quick share. I'll show you everything I've got as just like a spine. I'll do them here, and then I'll tell you my thoughts. And I thought, what would I want to know if someone was showing me knitting books? It's like what kind of things does it have in it, and would I buy it again, and like what do I use it for? So what do I use it for, would I buy it again, and what's in it? What the three whats? No, would. What would? Let me read this. These are not knitting books. That's a tea book in Rohan's books. And then, sorry about that. Let me categorize them. So I've got two books. They're both this year print. They're the start of the stack because they're really special to me. They're about the art of craft. So no patterns, but talks about the stories behind the makers. In no particular order, I've then got two of Summer Lee's books, and she does sock knitting pattern books. I have the two books from Lærke Bagger, and please correct me. I want to get closer to probably how that's actually said, and that will only happen if you correct me. So put in the comments or send me a little voice note on Instagram. But Lærke Bagger. Two of her books. Two Vogue knitting, one's a learning knitting book and one's a stitch dictionary. A Japanese stitches dictionary by Wendy, so not sure of her heritage. And then the Japanese Stitch Bible, which I feel really proud that I have, but I'll talk about that when I get to the book. And then two that don't have a category, so an op shop knitting magazine, and Knits, which was a book gifted to me by Matri. And that's every knitting book that I have, which is so beautiful to me. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 11 if you don't include a magazine as a book, which I am. So let me start from the top of the pile. They're in their little categories now. We'll start with the what's in the book. What have I done with it, and would I buy it again? So Knits, what is in it is the storytelling of this designer, Wei Chen Cha, the petite knitter, and it has patterns. It has really just a slant of new on the traditional, and it has hats, jumpers, socks, mittens. So jumpers, socks, hats, mittens. Yeah, it says it there. What I've used this for is artistic inspiration. I definitely have one thing that I want to knit from here, but my style is wackadoodle in the most beautiful way. And so it's not what I would normally do, which is small Fair Isle. Now, in saying that, would I knit that in bright orange and blue? Yes. But I haven't knit anything because it's a newer, brand new book. So this is the thing that I do really want to knit one day. Alpine Packer Jumper. Okay. And would I buy this book again? I didn't buy this book. And it is actually something that I would not pick off the shelf, but I'm so grateful that I got gifted it, because the way that Wei Chen writes is clean, personal, and beautiful to read. So I really got so much out of being gifted this book. Next one is this. This is, what's in it is like a gazillion knitting patterns and with like almost no instructions. What I have gotten out of this, no, I haven't knit any patterns. I got a sense of like knitting styles and skills. Like they do things in a very different way in the 1980s. That could be said of a lot of things. And I also can see the yarn they had access to was limited. Just if I'm judging it from this book, which is not a historical, it's not historically accurate in terms of volume, but this was printed in 1983. Would I buy it again? No, I don't think I'm going to buy vintage magazines again. I'm really glad that I purchased this, because like that's expensive. $4.95 in 1982. I got it for $1, and it gave me inspiration. It was just like, showed me that mohair, obviously, I was not aware, but it's been knit for a long time. The sizing is really complicated, and the way that they wrote was off prior knowledge, and I knit differently from these books, and I use circular needles, so not that useful, but was cute and inspired me. All right, what is in this book? Japanese Knitting Bible. This is written by Hitomi Shiade. Oh, beautiful. The blurb on the back is beautiful. I have all these random bookmarks and I'm obsessed with them. So one was that, and one's a Sophie scarf. I have used this so much more than I thought I would. It has little stitch dictionaries, and I use parts of it. I'm very honed into what I like, and so I'll be like, I like this small part, and I would write it on the paper, like here. I like the loops, or I like just the tassel part of this one. So I've used it to create stitch patterns that I like, and then I've also, see, I wouldn't necessarily knit that stitch pattern, but I learned a lot on how you would make those shapes from reading this chart. So it's big brain energy, this book. It's definitely not a light read for me. Sometimes I look at the charts and I know a lot of the symbols and it hurts my eyes. But that's kind of the cool thing about it. It's just like, and see, I wrote, I love that cross, but not the side bits. This, I love everything. Can you see that clearly enough? It's just so beautiful. So this was given to me for my birthday a number of years ago. I think something dropped at the back. In 2023 from Tilda, my dear Tilda. And she didn't know when she gave this to me, but I just watched another huge, beautiful knitwear designer, Kudikavika, Veronica, online talk about this and her designing her wedding dress, which is what she does in one of her videos that went viral. So I just felt so special getting this. Just a beautiful gift. Then I had, in that same year, before I got that, purchased this. And this is Wendy Bernard. She wrote this so that you could do Japanese stitches in the round, back and forth, top to bottom and bottom to top. Now, if you're not a knitter, that's going to be like, what? But if you are, basically what that means is that I could hack any stitch. She would give me the hacks for how to do that in the round or back and forth. And I have not actually, is that a lie? I think I've only used one stitch from this whole book. I really get a lot out of the different rib stitches that she's got. Let me move that. Like this one, bramble rib, beautiful. And I had started on other designs, not my own, sorry, knitting other people's patterns. I was gonna finish off with this rib, but then by the time I got to the rib, I was like, you know what? I could do a one by one and just really coast into the end of this. However, the photos in this book and the amount of stitch patterns, so 160 stitch patterns, and this is one of my favorites, this one, are beautiful. And just the thoughtfulness to do it in the round, back and forth, makes this a really useful book. I didn't say with the Japanese stitch Bible I showed you before from Tilda, yes, I would buy that again. 100 times over, I would buy it again. It is slightly complicated, and I definitely was intimidated reading it the first time, but I would definitely buy it again. This is not intimidating, less information because it's not as dense, but really thoughtful, definitely would buy again. This, from 1984, the Vogue Stitch Dictionary. I only got this because I got to see inside of it, because Ching Fibre from the UK is doing a Sunday series where she knits her yarn in these swatches, and I was enthralled, in love, just so happy to see what hand-dyed yarn does. And it even came with little adjustments to certain ones. It's such a beautiful vintage book. There's a crochet one. I don't crochet, but I think it's worth mentioning because this might be my favorite stitch dictionary I have ever laid my hands on. And it's by Mathews. And this book is so useful. It is only for back and forth, so a really different vibe from what I just showed you. I have used I've used 3 or 4 things out of this, and this is my newest stitch dictionary, and I just keep wanting to pick it up. Size, you know what I'm talking about. Size is important. And the smallness of this actually makes it so much more easy for me to pick up and knit with, which is something I would not have said before I purchased this. And not a common size, but beautiful. So that's a Vogue stitch. I'll keep that there, it's a bit small. Because I got that one, and I got it on eBay because it was printed in 1984. And I loved it so much, used it so much already. I then went and just purchased this, which I had seen online, was really, honestly, knitting books, for the start of my knitting journey, I was like, everything's on YouTube, truth. I am not going to knit every pattern inside the knitting book, truth. That is still true today, both of those things. They're going to take up space and not be useful. They do take up space, but they are so useful, more than I could imagine, for inspiration and for joy. I actually open them up and flick through the photos, and I really enjoy it. So after I got the 1984 one. This is a very old book, 1 million copies sold, but it's still in print, and this is the revised and updated in print version. And it's Vogue Knitting, the ultimate book. Now, if you can learn from pictures and writing, this is the book that I would probably buy. That's what it's got in it. It has the different things that you can do in knitting: cast on, cast off, cables, lace, and it's got like the entry point to every single one of these, color work, entry point. So if you're someone that like paper reading and then getting out knitting needles and yarn is how you think you would learn best, you cannot go past this book. Do not pass go. Collect it. Your 200 tips. It's just so good. Yeah, and it's got sidebars, so I've got it in a page that I need, so I'm like being coy about showing you because I don't want to lose the page, but it's got these side tabs, and this is another thing I didn't think would make a big difference but does, so that you know you're in the lace section. You go to here, you're in the finishing. You're here, you're in designing shawls, you're in designing accessories. You've got grid paper. It's just fantastic. So that one's really cool. And I would definitely buy it again. And I've already used it, and that is my newest, one of my newest knitting books. I in the last month have brought a lot of knitting books. And that's why this video is so fun. Okay. Let's go like this. This is the first, one of the first knitting books that I purchased, and it's because I saw Kuta Kavika in this, and if she's got other knitting books, I would love her to do another one. I'm gonna Instagram message her. You never know, maybe she'll see it. She's got like a gazillion followers. But she talked about this. I love little ad-libs, like you're getting blow by blow what my brain is thinking, and I'm here for it. All right, this is the one that Kuta Kavika talked about, same as that Japanese stitch book, the one with the white knitting on the front. And it was absolute love the first time I saw it online. It was, oh, I wonder if that's been recording. Now, I said so many good things. I wonder if that's been recording. All right, I'm gonna check. Oh, it has been. Okay, we don't need to freak out, everyone. Oh, wow, that never happens where it's like, no, you're all good. You are all good. It's been recording. Hey, I love this. All right, back to this. It was love at first sight when I saw this in Kuta Kavika's YouTube video on her knitting books. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. I don't mind telling you. Messy, beautiful, artful, bright, unique designs. So this book, what's inside of it is patterns, techniques. You can be starting as a beginner or like uber advanced, and from Europe's coolest knitter. And like, that's a funny thing to have written on your own book, but it is actually true. And she remains. So what do I knit out of this? Well, it took me a while to understand these patterns because I didn't understand needle size. They don't write millimeters, but from what I understand, excuse me, hiccup and yawn. Yeah, from what I understand, the needle size is the same as if it had millimeters. So she writes needle 6, and I now understand that it's needle 6mm needle. So that stopped me from knitting from this for a long time, because I could not find a resource that was telling me what Australian needle size that meant. And because it didn't have the millimeters, I was like, is this American, like size 6 needle in American knitting needle sets? I really want to knit this. I haven't knit it. It's so beautiful. She shares techniques. So she has 45 techniques, and the techniques part, like the way she ties the yarn together, because she uses scraps a lot. You can see on the back there, she uses scraps a lot. That's her signature, and it's so meaningful. The techniques teach you how to do that. The knots I still use for every single project on how she knots the yarn so it doesn't come apart. So I use it a lot for the techniques. I've only knit one pattern, and I messed it up because, again, I was knitting from bottom up, and I usually knit from the top down. But I still loved it, and I love this book. And oh, that's the other book. That's the next one. So that's her book 1. Would buy again 100 times over. In love with the photos. Often read it for joy. Now this one I just brought because I love that one. That's the honest truth. The cover I like better on the first one, but this is still gorge. She just had perfection on the first book. She brought this out a few years after Close Knit. Oh, and Close Knit has a different cover in different countries, which I always love. I find that so cool that it's unique. It is unique. Different countries read it differently. So this book is called Knitted Out. The first one was called Close Knits, and I ordered it because I was obsessed with knitting clothes for Barbies for my beautiful nieces. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, nieces. So, you know, that's Olivia, Ellie, Audie, and just such a joy. The thing that I've knit from here is this in a vest, and it's so beautiful. I wear it all the time. It's in Wool & Works yarn, and it was so fast. It's from the 3-day top skirt. Fantastic pattern, one of the fastest, most delightful knits, and gives you the steps to not follow the pattern, like describes it in a way that you can just set and forget the instructions. Absolutely loved. You could do it in a really neutral, like sandy color. That would be so beautiful with like how see-through the fabric is. But that was not the best thing about this book, and I loved that pattern. This book got really so close to Lærke Bagger. Again, you're going to correct me so that I can say that right. Lærke Bagger. She shares her story about losing her father, and oh my god, I have good reason to cry. She describes it so beautifully. This is like reading a book. This is like a memoir, and just such a masterclass in sharing all of yourself and also what you were designing at the time. And for you, me, like the things we're doing while these big life events are going on, I think I feel really so touched by how vulnerable she was, because then like 8 months later, my beautiful friend lost his father, and it just showed me how deep grief is, and how the world goes on still, and it's super hard. There's no description for it, but that lots of people are going through it, and she wrote it so beautifully. It is would buy again for sure, and I thank her for sharing like the deepest, darkest parts of herself. Great book. She has a third book out, and you best believe I'm pre-ordering that. This one I didn't pre-order. I was like, oh, I'm not sure. Do I really need more knitting books? I'm obsessed with knitting books. The answer is yes. They still will be intentional. All of these have a purpose, but anything she writes, I will buy. Okay, now we're going into like the most knitting pattern books I have. The Sock Project by Summer Lee. 25 patterns and tips on size and fit. So that's the what. What is inside of here? Can I get a photo one? Okay. If you've never knit a sock, and again, you learn from paper, she has supporting videos for a lot of these techniques. This will be so cool for you. I was that person, and I'd never knit a sock. I still went on YouTube and watched all the techniques, but to be able to carry it with me, I really liked. Again, this came before this size in a sock book. Can you imagine? So perfect. However, printers don't really print them like that. So I was very happy with this. To carry it, yeah, smaller size would have been fun as well. I don't know if they can even print in smaller sizes. I'm just telling you my thoughts as I have them. The sections are really good. It goes cable, lace, color work, and her colors I vibe so hard. So I got that. Then I didn't pre-order, but I did pre-order. I pre-ordered this, and I made the mistake of pre-ordering it on Amazon, which was honestly a bit of a poop experience. And I'm sorry, Amazon. I'm sure there's like lots of complex reasons that I don't understand, but I should have just pre-ordered it from a local yarn store. But I didn't have, no one was telling me that there was pre-orders out. No drama. I still got the book, and I got it like quite soon, and I instantly knit 2 pairs of socks back to back, and I think this is going to be my most pattern, like the one I use for patterns the most. I knit this sock, and the name of this sock, I can never get the name. Channel Island Socks. Channel Island Socks. Beautiful. Such a easy pattern because you're changing textures through each section. It went really fast. And then I knit another one as well. Let's see if it shows up in here, because I didn't know I was doing this video. So, you know. Oh, here it is. The Impressionist Socks, and you can see I definitely knit it because I have a little tea stain, which is so beautiful to me. The way it's splattered is really pretty. So I knit this in mathews yarn, and a DK 8 ply sock this one is, so that knit up in like a day and a half for me. And if you're a slow knitter, that could be a week project and you would fully finish it. Right, so beautiful. So this one has, it's the first one that I've knit multiple things and have page marks to knit the next thing. I've showed it on another video, but just in case, you can see my random bookmark, and then you can see this sock. So I've got quite a few bookmarks in there. 2-way striped socks. And I got yarn from Little Woolly Makes for this, which was in my yarn video. Do I need to link that? I think I do. Oh, that's another bookmark that fell out of one of the books. They're so beautiful. Let me keep you in there, beauty. Okay, last 2, and one of them's from the library, and one of them is something that brought me to tears. It was so personal and a beautiful story about handwoven arts. So I'm going to finish with this one. let me share a bit about this. This one was at my local library, and both of these books, there is something really special you need to know, and that is they are both Australian books, both printed this year, and both talk about fibre artists, knitting artists, textile artists, crochet artists. It is so special to me that there is enough things in Australia that two different books could be printed in the same year. It makes me really excited. This one, the externals of this book, I mean, I don't need to tell you how thoughtful and well executed that is. It is also really light, which is so fabulous. My hands are flaring because I'm tired. I have rheumatoid arthritis and sometimes they flare and it sucks, but I can still do amazing things, and that's where we are now. But this book, because it's light, is really nice to hold when I have a flare. So let's talk more about this. What is in it? Artist stories, artist pictures, and moved to tears. Excuse me for knocking the mic. Oh, look at this. This is so beautiful. Moved to tears. If you are a non-knitting artist, this book you have to read. It is so gorgeous. And yeah, because it's fabric and yarn and all of that stuff, you don't hear about these artists, and they are all working right now in their fields. Right now. And every photo, yeah, thoughtful, beautiful. Oh, look at this one. So this is written by Romana Berry and Beck Jobson. It is stunning. It is definitely worth a purchase. I got it from the library because I didn't know what was in it, but at some stage I will purchase this book. Oh, like even that, the monochrome gorgeousness. Romana and Beck, you nailed this. Now, it is an art book. It has formal language style, and there's less storytelling about Romana and Beck, and that's a vibe for some people, to keep it to the artist, to keep it professional. And there's so many special artists to talk about in here. For me, I want to know the underbelly. I want to know Romana and Beck, and so I hope they do another book, and I hope they tell us about their connection with each of the artists. They were so professional though, and it didn't take away from how cool the information was presented. Me, I just want to know the human writing the book. That's a very Mollie thing. I don't know if other people would have that thought. So they did an absolutely phenomenal job, and it might be the most beautiful book because of this spine matching the cover that I've ever seen. Full stop, no notes. Gorge. This one, now, let me just share the visuals because this is a really special book that I almost didn't buy. The cover is perfect. It has the feeling of what it is, which is creative collection of textile arts made with yarn and thread. So it had to have yarn and thread on the front. It is a style I really like, where it's like printing something that is actually textured. It is, unfortunately, does not photograph well. In real life, it is much better, but it does not photograph well, and the only way you can buy this book is online. So I almost didn't buy it because the cover didn't speak to me, which is silly because, like, how old is the saying? Don't judge a book by its cover. But it's such a new type of format, writing about fibre artists. I actually didn't know what to think about it. However, I follow Smith Street Books on Instagram, and I was lucky enough to do that before this book came out, and then they blasted it on their social media, and thank God, because seeing Sophia in the flesh talking about, or I think it was just photos, I didn't even hear her talking about it, was like, done, I need this. Didn't see any of the pages inside, just knowing a little bit about the author through those photos. That's what made me buy it. And I love everything about this book. I opened it like this and I just felt so inspired. I was like, why is the inside cover so beautiful? And it didn't stop there. The first, this photo, I had to look at 100 times to figure out who was the person and who is the object made entirely of yarn. It just goes from like strength to strength. Like the introduction tells me so much about Sophia, and I felt so close to her that I actually sectioned off the book to read each artist separately because I wanted it to last longer. I didn't want to finish the book. And it was just such a great way to do it. The photos in this book are again fantastic, and some of the artists cross over, like they're in both books. However, there is so many fiber artists right now working at art. I'm not even talking about knitting patterns, which is where I'm headed with my journey of making knitting, but with art is so cool. I just want to show you so much more. Like, look at that. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. It's 38 artists in this book. Sophia Cai, she's got her name in Mandarin characters, which is so beautiful to me. Gosh, I really hope that's Mandarin. That would be so white of me not to know. But hey, sorry, I need to learn. Having this here was so beautiful to me. This actually brought a tear to my eye because I really crave this. I crave people's heritage, like to see, okay, like I can have your name in the text that you grew up with or you identify with as your family, your home. And that could be, Sanskrit, that could be Mandarin, that could be Cantonese, that could be Japanese, that could be Urdu or Arabic. Like, just I love to see it, and I love to see it when it's been printed in Australia. So from beginning to end, I loved it. It's such a thing I want to scream to the highest mountain and the lowest valley. Like, don't judge it by the pictures online. This book is phenomenal. The writing in it is personal and just drops you straight into a creative world that even if you don't, especially if you don't know anything about, you will be taken on a beautiful journey. So would buy again, that's what's in it. And what I've used it for is inspiration. And my God, is that all I have? That's every book in the house. So yeah, the collection will grow mindfully and slowly. Knitting books are the most beloved, have become just so, over the last few years, such a beloved part of my knitting journey. And I really want to write a knitting book. Now, I'm not there this year, but if you know how I start doing that, tell me. This is the first time I've shared that. And I love to share it here on YouTube. It's such a beautiful personal group. You all know stuff sometimes before I've told anyone. And yeah, it just feels like our little secrets back and forth here. Yeah, so give me the back and forth. Like, how do I do that? How do I start? I have the what, like what would be in the book. But it feels like a gorgeous, ginormous thing that I'm really uneducated in. So that's me. That's my surprise secret at the end that I wasn't sure I was going to share. And isn't that funny? I have such a passion for knitting, and now books with knitted art, knitted patterns, knitted techniques in them. But there was something that was like stopping me from saying, I'm going to write a knitting book in the next 3 years. Like, that I was scared to say that. And you must have that as well. Like, where there's things so big that you don't want to say them. And what is that? Like, it must be like my accountability to myself. Because I'm sure you will love what I'm doing, even if I never write a knitting book. But now that I've said it to you, it's like this accountability to my own words that is scary, but very nice, very exciting. Yeah, it reminds me, I had a friend who was my housemate, and she would do this. She would tell people her dream. Like, she was a beautiful director of film and was an actor in films, and like, she had done so much bigger stuff than I could ever imagine. And we were like 20 when we lived together, 20 something. She was always like, I just told someone I'm going to Berlin. And I was like, are you going to Berlin? And she's like, they're going to keep reminding me. So yeah, I guess I am. And that's, yeah, that's so true. Like, sharing it is brave and wild and freaky. But I think that's why, because then people will be like, hey, weren't you talking about a knitting book? How's that going? And I want that. I want that freaky real life stuff. Yeah, because all of this work just allows me to have my family around me, to have 2 chronic conditions, and to feel so, I don't know the word you would use. Connected. Connected, and like I'm growing. That's what it is. Oof. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there, because the second video I have videoed, and I'll just never get off this video. We'll have like a year's content, and I'll be sitting here in this jumper. Thank you. I'm Mollie and the Knits. I'm a brand new knitting designer. I share the underbelly, the secret things of my knitting journey. Sometimes I know I'm going to share, sometimes I don't, but I always share. And I love that you could see all my knitting books. Thank you for watching my knitting books. I really liked it. And I come every single week. Every single week I film and I'm here. So I'll see you next week. And until then, I hope you have a good week with good moments. Maybe some hard moments of growth. That's cool too. But yeah, can't wait to see you next week and share with you more. And please share with me in the comments. I read every single one of them. It doesn't have to be what I asked about, but I do feel like this is so close, the YouTube part, so I will hear everything you say. Okay, bye.